Have you ever sat down after a long day, rubbed your knees, and wondered why they've been hurting more than usual? Maybe it's not just your knees. Maybe it's your ankles, your hips, or even the bottom of your feet. You tell yourself, it's just part of getting older. And sure, a little stiffness comes with age. But what if I told you there's something else behind the pain? Something that's not just age, but coming straight from your plate? Today, we're going to talk about one of the most overlooked reasons why your joints might be hurting, your legs might be feeling weak, and your energy is slowly draining away. And it all starts with the food you eat. Specifically, the types of meat you're putting into your body. Now, before you say, "Oh no, not my favorite dish," don't worry. This video isn't about giving up everything you love. It's about understanding which meats are silently causing harm, and how you can make small, smart changes to protect your joints, reduce inflammation, and stay on your feet longer. Because the truth is, not all meats are created equal. Some of them are like slow-acting poison for your joints. They cause inflammation, they damage cartilage, and over time, they make walking, climbing stairs, and even standing a painful chore. And here's the worst part. You might be eating them every single day without knowing the damage they're doing. Let me tell you about Uncle Hòa, a 70-year-old man I met not long ago. Strong man. Used to walk 5 kilometers every morning. But a few years ago, his knees started aching so much, he couldn't even stand up without using both hands to push off the chair. He tried everything, pain creams, supplements, even acupuncture. Nothing worked until a young doctor suggested looking into his diet. Turns out, Uncle Hòa was eating a heavy portion of processed meats almost every day. Ham, sausages, bacon, those convenient, salty, flavorful cuts he loved. Once he reduced those and switched to more natural, lean sources of protein, something incredible happened. The pain didn't go away overnight, but it started to fade. Within 2 months, he could walk without groaning. By 3 months, he was back to his daily morning strolls. No pills. Just smarter choices. So what's going on here? Why are certain types of meat so harmful to your joints? Let's start with a big one, processed meats. That includes sausages, hot dogs, deli meats, bacon, and canned meat. They're packed with chemicals, preservatives like nitrates, excessive salt, and unhealthy fats that trigger inflammation in your body. And inflammation is the root of joint pain. It's like a fire burning inside your knees, ankles, and hips. Even worse, these meats often contain advanced glycation end products, also called AGEs. When you cook meat at high temperatures, especially if it's fried or grilled too much, these compounds build up. And AGEs are like little saboteurs. They attack collagen and cartilage, the soft tissues that cushion your joints. Without healthy cartilage, every step becomes bone grinding on bone. Now, I know processed meats are convenient. They're easy to store, easy to prepare, and for many people, they've been part of meals for decades. But here's what I ask. Is that convenience worth the cost of your knees? Is it worth losing the ability to walk freely, play with your grandkids, or climb the stairs without pain? Now let's talk about another one that might surprise you. Red meat, especially in large amounts and cooked at high temperatures. I'm talking about those juicy steaks, sizzling barbecue ribs, and even some cuts of beef or lamb that have become a weekend tradition in many homes. Now, let me be clear, red meat in small portions, especially if it's lean and properly cooked, isn't necessarily the enemy. But when eaten too often, or prepared in unhealthy ways, red meat can become a silent contributor to joint pain and leg problems. Here's why. First, red meat is naturally high in saturated fat. When consumed in excess, these fats don't just raise your cholesterol. They fuel inflammation in the body, just like processed meats. That inflammation doesn't always show up as fever or visible swelling. Sometimes it's quiet. It lingers. And it chooses to settle right where you move the most, your joints. On top of that, red meat can raise your body's levels of uric acid. Now, uric acid is a waste product that your body normally gets rid of through urine. But when there's too much, especially from high-purine foods like certain cuts of beef or organ meats, it starts to crystallize in your joints. And those crystals, they feel like needles. That's what causes gout. And trust me, once you've had a gout attack in your big toe, ankle, or knee, you won't forget it. You might be thinking, but I've been eating red meat my whole life. And that may be true. But here's the thing. As we age, our bodies process and repair more slowly. What we could once handle at 40, we can't always handle at 70. Our kidneys don't flush out waste as efficiently. Our joints can't bounce back like they used to. So small things, like one too many grilled steaks per week, can suddenly tip the balance. That doesn't mean you have to give it up forever, but it does mean moderation becomes your best friend. Think about having red meat just once or twice a week instead of daily. And when you do, choose leaner cuts, like sirloin or tenderloin, and avoid charring or overgrilling it. Instead, try slow cooking, stewing, or baking, methods that keep the meat tender and reduce the formation of harmful compounds like ages. You see, our goal here isn't to take away all the foods you enjoy. Our goal is to help you enjoy those foods in a way that supports your long-term health, so your legs can stay strong, your joints stay mobile, and you continue living life on your terms. Because the truth is, no one wants to spend their later years limited by pain or struggling to move. We want to keep dancing at family parties, walking through the park, or simply getting out of bed without wincing. That future is still in your hands. And it starts with small shifts in the kitchen. Now that we've uncovered how processed meats and heavy red meat consumption can sneakily harm your joints and legs, let's keep going, because there are still more common meats to watch out for. And the next one, it's often seen as healthy, but can actually cause more harm than help, depending on how it's prepared. Now, let's move on to a type of meat that often gets a healthy label, but can turn into a hidden danger depending on how it's processed and cooked. I'm talking about chicken skin and overfried poultry. Yes, you heard that right. Chicken by itself, especially lean, skinless chicken breast, can be a fantastic source of protein, great for maintaining muscle mass and energy in older adults. But the problem starts when we add too much oil, deep fry it, or leave the skin on all the time. You see, chicken skin is high in saturated fat, and when you fry it or roast it until it's crispy and golden, it creates a layer of harmful compounds, especially if you're using reused or low-quality oil. Those compounds, they increase inflammation, just like the ones found in red and processed meats. And inflammation is like rust for your joints. It doesn't always scream for attention. It whispers. It quietly erodes the cushioning around your knees, stiffens your ankles, and makes everyday movements feel heavier and slower over time. I remember a lovely auntie in her 60s, Aunt Na, who prided herself on cooking for her whole family every Sunday. Her grandkids loved her crispy chicken wings, but she told me she started feeling more pain in her fingers, knees, and even her hips after those heavy weekend meals. When she began baking her chicken instead, using herbs and lemon instead of oil-heavy marinades, she was shocked how much better she felt within just a few weeks. What changed? She didn't stop eating chicken. She just changed how it was prepared. That's the lesson here. If you love chicken, keep loving it. Just take off the skin and avoid deep frying. Bake, poach, grill gently, or even stir-fry with minimal oil. Your joints will thank you for it, and your heart, your liver, and your blood vessels will be cheering too. Another issue with poultry isn't just how it's cooked. It's what kind of chicken you're buying. Many mass-produced chicken products, especially pre-seasoned or frozen kinds, contain high levels of sodium, preservatives, and injected flavor enhancers. These additives aren't just unnecessary. They can trigger water retention, joint stiffness, and even increase the pressure on your knees and ankles. When your body holds on to excess water, it creates a kind of puffiness in your joints. That swelling puts pressure on your ligaments and bones and can make it harder to bend, stretch, or walk for long periods. That's why, if possible, try choosing fresh, hormone-free chicken, or at least check the labels on prepackaged products. You'd be surprised how much salt and artificial flavoring is packed into something that's supposed to be just chicken. And remember, it's not about fear, it's about knowledge. Once you know how something affects your body, you get to choose differently. And those small choices become powerful tools for healing, strength, and freedom. You deserve to feel light on your feet. You deserve to move through your day without pain nagging at your knees or dragging at your hips. And that journey starts right where we all spend a good part of our time, in the kitchen. Now let's turn our attention to something that might catch you off guard. Fried and processed seafood, especially imitation seafood like fake crab meat, breaded fish sticks, or deep-fried calamari. Many people think seafood is always healthy, and yes, fresh fish, especially oily ones like salmon or mackerel, are rich in omega-3s that fight inflammation and support joint health. But that's not what we're talking about here. The danger lies in the heavily processed seafoods, the ones that are breaded, frozen, flavored, and filled with preservatives. Let's take imitation crab meat as an example. It may look like real crab. It may taste a bit like crab. But when you look closely, it's usually a mixture of ground-up white fish, starch, sugar, salt, and artificial flavorings. And guess what? That processed mix doesn't nourish your joints. It burdens them. These products often contain high amounts of MSG, monosodium glutamate, and sodium phosphate, which are known to trigger inflammation, especially in sensitive individuals or those living with arthritis. And just like with overly salted meats, this can lead to water retention, stiffness, and that dreaded heavy leg feeling that many seniors describe. I met a woman named Mrs. Lean, 74, who told me she was eating fish regularly, thinking it was helping her joints. But when she showed me what kind of fish, it was always pre-battered, frozen fish sticks, or canned seafood loaded with salt. She was trying to make the right choice, but didn't realize how much processing was hidden behind the label. When she switched to fresh fish, grilled or lightly pan-cooked, seasoned with turmeric and ginger instead of heavy sauces, her knees started to feel looser, and the morning stiffness faded faster. Her story reminded me that it's not just about what we eat, but how close it is to its natural form. The same goes for deep-fried squid or shrimp dishes that are so common in celebrations or restaurant meals. The seafood itself might be fine, but once it's coated in thick batter and plunged into hot oil, it turns into a trap for inflammation. And let's be honest, it's not always easy to change these habits. Food is emotional. It's cultural. It brings comfort, memories, even pride. But we also have to ask ourselves, is it giving us strength? Or is it slowly taking away our ability to move, to stand tall, to walk without pain? Because here's the thing. You can still enjoy delicious meals without punishing your joints. Instead of fried fish, try steaming it with herbs. Instead of crab sticks, go for fresh white fish or tofu with seaweed for that ocean taste. Your joints won't miss the extra salt, and your legs will carry you farther because of it. So far, we've uncovered 4 types of meat or meat-like foods that silently harm your joints and legs. Processed meats, red meats, fried poultry with skin, and overly processed seafoods. But there's one more, one that hides in plain sight, often right at our dinner table. And this last one may surprise you even more than the others. And now, let's talk about the final meat on our list, the one that seems innocent, even comforting, but could be quietly weakening your joints and muscles if eaten too often. I'm talking about fatty cuts of pork, especially when they're grilled, fried, or heavily seasoned. Now listen, I know pork is a staple in many of our kitchens. It's the base of our soups, our stir-fries, our weekend gatherings. For many of us, it's the taste of tradition, of home-cooked meals that bring the family together. But here's the truth. Not all pork is created equal. Fatty pork, like pork belly, ribs, or skin-on cuts, contains high levels of saturated fat. And when those fats build up in the body, they don't just affect your heart. They also contribute to systemic inflammation, which often settles in the joints. If you've ever felt like your knees swell more after a big meal, or that your joints ache the morning after a celebration, it could be the pork. But it's not just the fat that's the issue. The way we prepare pork makes a huge difference. When pork is char-grilled until crispy, or when it's deep-fried, it produces harmful compounds that accelerate wear and tear on joint cartilage. And when you combine that with high-sodium marinades, like soy sauce, fish sauce, or MSG-heavy seasonings, it becomes a triple threat: inflammation, stiffness, and swelling. I remember talking to a retired seamstress named Ko Phuong, who used to eat pork belly stir-fried with fish sauce almost every night. It was her comfort food. But over time, she began feeling sharp pain in her wrists and knees, making it harder to hold scissors, climb stairs, or even grip a spoon. Her doctor suspected arthritis. But when she changed her diet, cutting back on pork belly and choosing leaner proteins like tofu and steamed fish, her symptoms improved significantly within a few months. She didn't give up pork entirely. She just chose lean cuts, removed the skin, and cooked them with turmeric, ginger, or garlic, natural anti-inflammatories. Her meals still tasted like home, but her body finally stopped feeling like it was under attack. That's the message I want to share with you today. You don't have to give up every food you love, but your body is talking to you through your stiffness, your pain, your slower steps. And when you listen, really listen, you realize your health isn't about perfection. It's about awareness, about balance, about choosing what supports you, not what slowly steals your strength. And now that we've uncovered the 5 meats that quietly harm your joints, processed meats, red meats, fried poultry with skin, processed seafood, and fatty pork, it's time to think beyond what we remove. Let's talk about what we can add to nourish and protect our legs, so we can keep doing what we love for many years to come. So here's the good news. Even if you've been eating these meats for years, even if your knees crack when you stand up or your ankles ache after a short walk, it's not too late. Your body is always listening. And even the smallest change in your habits can begin to turn things around. Maybe you start with one small step, swapping processed ham for a slice of fresh chicken breast. Maybe you take the skin off your poultry, or steam your fish instead of frying it. Maybe you cut back on the pork belly just twice a week. These aren't sacrifices. They're investments in your strength, your balance, your freedom. Because think about it. Your legs aren't just for walking. They're for dancing at your grandchild's wedding. They're for standing in the kitchen, laughing with your family. They're for stepping into a bus, strolling through a park, rising from your favorite chair with confidence. And every meal you choose wisely is a vote in favor of that life. So today, I want to invite you to do something simple, but powerful. Go to your fridge or pantry and take a look. What meats are in there? Which ones are helping your joints? And which ones might be quietly working against them? No judgment, just awareness. Because awareness is the first step to change. Then ask yourself this. What's one change I can make today? Not next week. Not after holiday. Today. Maybe it's switching how you cook a favorite dish. Maybe it's trying tofu, beans, or fish with turmeric this weekend. Whatever it is, celebrate it. You're not giving something up. You're gaining something better. A body that feels lighter, steadier, and more alive. I would love to hear from you. Have you noticed any foods that make your joints feel worse or better? Have you tried cutting back on certain meats and seen a difference? Leave a comment below and share your experience. You never know who might read it and feel inspired to take their first step. If this video helped you, please click the like button and subscribe to the VITAGO channel so you never miss another tip to keep your legs strong, your heart healthy, and your spirit full of energy. We're building a community here, a place where growing older means growing stronger, not slower. And hey, just in case no one has told you today, you're doing great. You're showing up, learning, and caring for yourself. That matters more than you know. So let's raise a glass of warm turmeric tea or a bowl of veggie soup and toast to our beautiful legs. They've carried us through decades of life. And with the right love, they'll carry us even further. Happy birthday to you at every age. Keep stepping forward. Keep choosing wisely. And I'll see you in the next video.